And now to news from West Asia, where Israel on Thursday claimed to have eliminated several Hamas terrorists in an airstrike on a school in central Gaza. Israel's military said it had taken steps to protect civilians before its fighter jets carried out the strike. An Israeli military spokesperson accused Hamas and Islamic Jihad of deliberately using UN facilities as an operational base, and that 20 to 30 Hamas terrorists were located in the compound, many of whom had been killed. Meanwhile, Israel struck Hezbollah targets in Lebanon on Thursday after the group carried out airstrikes inside Israel's territory. An Israeli military video showed its forces hitting a Hezbollah observation post near the Lebanese town of Khiam and a military structure near the village of Aita Ashab. The Hezbollah projectiles, described by the group as kamikaze drones, were launched into northern Israel on Wednesday. At least 7 people were wounded. Meanwhile, negotiations continue between Israel and Hamas aimed at securing a ceasefire and the release of hostages. The United States, the United Kingdom, Canada, Germany and several other countries have called on Hamas to accept a proposal by US President Joe Biden for a permanent ceasefire in the enclave. And Sarah Coates joins us from Tel Aviv. Sarah, what more can you tell us about an Israeli strike on a UN-run school in Gaza?
Hello there, Ramesh. What we are hearing coming in from the ground, according to health authorities, these hospitals are completely overwhelmed. You did mention there these claims from the Hamas-run Gaza Health Ministry saying that at least 35 people have been killed, many more injured. And you also mentioned what with this statement that we have heard from the Israelis. It was claiming that a number of Palestinian Islamic Jihad and also Hamas fighters were actually using this UN-run school to carry out terror activities, to shelter in this area, saying that the strike that happened in the very early hours of this morning was a precise strike, saying the terrorists were embedded there. The IDF saying that it had extensive precautions to reduce harm to civilians. We also have a statement now from the UN's Palestinian Refugee Agency, UNRWA, the head of that organisation, Philip Lazzarini. He says that some 6,000 internally displaced people were sheltering in this school, saying that claims that armed groups may have been inside the shelter are shocking, adding that we are unable to verify these claims. But really what this is doing, what this has done, is really piling more pressure for an immediate ceasefire to come into effect. And this is why the United States and allies have signed this joint letter calling for Hamas to immediately accept this proposal that is on the table to see the release of these remaining Israeli hostages, and also for a ceasefire in the Strip. Still no response yet from Hamas. Ramesh.
Also, Sarah, how's the situation in northern Israel along the country's border with Lebanon?
Ramesh, this is an extremely worrying situation. This is an unprecedented situation right now that these people there are facing. I was actually up in the north yesterday and just got back a short while ago. It is an incredible situation that really has the potential of developing very soon into a full-scale war. I was speaking to some top intelligence people up there who have said to me that right now, while there's a lot of focus on post-war and the day after the war in Gaza, they are preparing for the day of war. Certainly a lot of concern. We do need to remember that some 60,000 people have been displaced from these border communities. They are unable to go home right now given the dire security situation. When these missiles and these drones are launched from southern Lebanon, other parts of around that border there isn't time for people to get to shelter. Often sirens do not even ring out until after a missile has hit the ground. Now, we were basically 2 kilometres on that from that border at a place called Kiryat Shimona. It is extremely troubling. As I mentioned, most people have fled, they've been evacuated. Some do remain, of course, protecting their communities, and we do need to remember that massive fires broke out there in northern Israel over the last few days as a result of these missiles, these rockets being fired into Israel. But certainly a lot of concern, as I said. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who actually visited the town of Kiryat Shimona late yesterday, he said that we are ready with an extremely powerful response to these Hezbollah attacks.
Sarah, thank you. Sarah Coates there in Tel Aviv.